Hey Virginia is sponsored in part by
Everence Financial is grateful to serve this community. As a faith-rooted financial services organization, we're dedicated to helping members grow more confident futures. With their values in mind, join a community that's doing better together.
Hey Virginia, what's going on? Welcome to a special edition of Hey Virginia, where we explore in detail Route 151 corridor in Nelson County. As you're headed that way, you may pull off into exit 99 to one of these great overlooks where a lot of tourists stop by and check out and see the sights before they head down to the area of breweries, distilleries, and wineries. Whether you've been there or this is your first time, you're about to see it in a whole new way on this episode of Hey Virginia. Route 151 is home to many breweries, wineries, and distilleries, but only one can boast the only mother-daughter distilling duo in the United States, and that is Silverback Distillery. About to open their second location, let's check out their first one now.
A producer. We live on the property, and I went and apprenticed at a distillery out west and learned the foundations, and then went from there.
And she wanted to do bakery type stuff at first, but I think making muffins and cakes wasn't quite as exciting as making bourbon and whiskey and gin and vodka and everything like that. So that's why we did that.
So we have Merengue vodka. Merengue is a scientific term for gorilla. We have Strange Monkey Gin. We have Blackback Whiskey. All the young male gorillas that surround a silverback are called blackbacks. And then we also have a honey rye whiskey. We have our Blackback bourbon coming out later this summer.
3-4 months. Yeah.
And we have a rum coming out, and a wheated whiskey, and I have an Irish aging, Irish style. We're not allowed to call it Irish. And then we have another spin on our gin coming out this summer.
That's a surprise. Yeah, that's a surprise.
Yes.
I think we have the only mother-daughter distilling team in the United States. So my daughter was at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh, Scotland. She just finished her finals to get her master's in fermentation science and distillation.
She's my right hand.
That's right. She's in her, I guess she's in her dissertation phase now. She's doing all the different botanicals. I think it's 72 or 73 different botanicals that you load into gin. That's her dissertation, which is pretty fun, not like my papers that I had to do.
Considering our gin's top 10 in the world, so that's a little helpful
It
to her.
is, yeah, it is. Yeah, I think we're the only ones that have that special ingredient of...
That is a smoked old-fashioned. First, we burn some wood. We capture the smoke. We add a large cube, which attracts that smoke. So it's kind of an experience thing. You don't taste the smoke, but you experience the smoke. The smell stays with it. Then we add the syrup and bitters, and either your choice of the Lucky 13 rye or the honey rye.
We know Route 151 in Nelson County is a big tourist attraction, but Jerry and Rusty are certainly not tourists. In fact, more like locals of the area. What keeps you coming back?
We live next door. I can walk over and then walk home.
There you go, I love it. What do you think about having all these tourists in your backyard all the time?
I don't mind the tourists at all. It brings money into the county and it helps with our economy, so it's wonderful.
Everything starts from grains, so we use a lot of local grains. We try to use as much Virginia product as we can. It's labor intensive because you have to cook it, and then it takes days and days to ferment everything, and then you have to cycle it through the stills, and then you either have to, bottle it, barrel it, all that kind of stuff, label the bottles, so it's very intensive. It's a unique experience. So when people come here, about 92 to 94% of our customer base are tourists. They're coming to get away for the weekend. They want to let their hair down. We have 7 wineries. We have 2 hard cider places. We have 3
breweries.
We have us. And so they just come here and they know they can relax. There's no pressure. The scenery is some of the most beautiful in the country. We've lived all over the country. And the valleys here in the Blue Ridge Parkway and Skyline Drive, and you have waterfalls, and you can go fishing, you can go hiking. I mean, it's like a playground.
Yeah.
And we live here.
We hope you're enjoying this special episode of Hey Virginia at Nelson 151. We're near the entrance now at a great place called the Rockfish Country Store, just one of the great places you can explore as you head towards the corridor. Now we head to Bold Rock Cidery, celebrating their 5th anniversary. And if you've got a thing for apples in the summertime, you're gonna love Bold Rock Cidery.
Yeah, Bold Rock Hard Cider was founded in 2012 by 2 sort of unlikely partners, John Washburn and Brian Shanks. John was sort of the visionary behind the brand, and he had owned this land for about 30 years prior to starting it. And then Brian is a world-renowned cider maker, and they met in New Zealand, but they discussed this idea of starting a hard cider company in the heart of Central Virginia. And so 2012, they swung open the doors down at our 2 small barns at the bottom of the hill, and fast forward to 2017, and we're the 5th largest cider brand in the country, the largest craft cider brand in the country, and we're quite pleased with our growth, but we're staying true to our roots of using locally sourced apples to craft our cider, and staying humble. We do a couple of techniques to really make sure that it's got almost like a champagne mouthfeel, so very, very nicely carbonated. Our ciders, we're not overly dry and we're not overly sweet. We're sort of like right in the middle in terms of broad palatability, and so really, we don't turn off anyone. People generally say, all right, I don't like sweet ciders. Well, we've got that for you. I don't like really dry ciders. We've got ciders that are right down the middle in terms of their sort of broad applicability towards many different styles of palate. We do a number of different seasonal styles. The pear is actually a part of our flagship line, so that's year-round. But then throughout the other 12 months, we'll be rolling out our blood orange, for instance. That's a early fall seasonal. We'll do our citrus style, which is in season right now. That's about to head out the door to make way for our peach, though. And so we try and sort of align our seasonal styles with the harvest of the fruit, and keep things interesting for our customers. We want to be at the forefront of innovation for cider, not only just regionally but nationally, and try and sort of push the envelope to keep giving customers something new, exciting, interesting to try. I think the landscape, it's naturally beautiful out here, and people love going somewhere beautiful and enjoying themselves. The quality, whether you're making cider, beer, wine, distilling spirits, the quality is really, it's industry standard or better all along 151. All the businesses around here, they're making great beverages, and I think the consumers can taste the difference as it relates to some of the other producers in the area. And you know, like I said, it's gorgeous out here, and you know, there's something to be said for like going back into almost like a bygone era of enjoying the rural lifestyle. So many people they're in the urban jungle these days, and so getting out of the city, coming to you know, being just a more serene setting is very desirable to many.
Here at the Rockfish Gap Country Store, they have 97 vendors where you can buy anything from homemade jelly to antique cufflinks to pottery. Let's go now to Wild Wolf Brewery. As you spend your day at the Nelson 151 corridor, you have to stop in. It promises a howling good time.
Well, we opened in November 2011, and we really started because Danny, the brewmaster, got out of brewing school, and we kind of started looking into things, and it turned into a much larger project than I first envisioned. The 151 brings a lot of tourists. It's just a beautiful road. We're out here in Nelson County with the beauty of the Blue Ridge Mountains. There are a lot of people that head up to Wintergreen for the weekend or just make a day trip of 151. So it's just a great place to be. We finished up our event center last year, and then this year the focus has been on the brewery, so you can't see what we're doing. But we have 2 brand new buildings going in. So we've really reached a point where production has made the brewery too small, and we've just outgrown our space. So we've got 2 buildings that hopefully will be up and running by September, and that'll allow us to increase production and start to grow the business. It's a beautiful place to be, and people come here, they have a great time, they can sit and they relax. Normally in this beer garden on a day that's not raining, it would be full of people and their dogs and their kids, and everybody's having fun. So I think it's nice that you're in a tourist area and people are on vacation, or they're just out to just relax and have fun, and it's good to see. I like it.
Everything here is farm to table. It's attached with a restaurant here, so we grow our own hops, vegetables out back. Everything's pretty much full circle.
There's been so much growth with new breweries and breweries expanding and increasing. There's just a huge demand for brewers and people to work in the brewery. And there aren't enough people with experience to fulfill that. So what's happening is a lot of breweries are doing what we're doing. We're finding people that are passionate about brewing. You know, they're smart, they really love what they're doing, and we teach them. And we've actually been getting involved a lot in sort of like some internship programs and things. And the brewmaster's actually on his way back from Tibet right now. He went over to Tibet to help teach the Tibetans how to brew. Right now we usually have 12 to 13 beers on tap. By far the flagship beer is Blonde Honey, so that's the one we're pretty much known for. We actually have a relatively new beer out right now called Area 151, which is kind of a play on our location. And that is really taking off. That's actually Blonde Honey without the honey. And we use blackberries instead. We use real blackberries, so it has this beautiful red flavor, and it's amazingly delicious beer. We have Primal Instinct, which is our house IPA. And there are just a lot of other variations. So brewing's very much an art. It's like being in the kitchen. It's hard work, and it requires passion and people that are really, you know, there are a lot of facets to understanding everything that goes on in here. A lot.
For more information, go to wildwolfbeer.com. Another brewery I'm thinking you might have heard of is Devil's Backbone, originating right here on Nelson 151 in Nelson County and recently partnering with Anheuser-Busch. Some say Devil's Backbone is taking over the nation.
Doors in November 2008, and it became a local family gathering place, something that wasn't available before.
As Pilot Brewery, we do recipe development and innovation. So we new brews we brew for the first time here. I take careful notes, try and decide how that recipe could be improved. Brew it again. Same process. Trying to really hone in on that perfect representation of the beer that we're trying to achieve. And then eventually, when we feel that recipe is just right, we can send that recipe down to our outpost facility in Lexington, where they can put that into mass production and put it into bottles and cans. So just for an idea of scale, we here at the Base Camp Pilot Brewery, we make in 1 year about the same amount of beer that is made in our Lexington brewery in 1 day. Most of it is coming from Lexington, but pretty much all of the recipes are coming from this tiny little system here.
We have abundance of mountains, which means there's abundance of water running off of them. And for the cideries and the breweries, and probably the wineries with, the avid grape growing in their crops, the natural water source that we have here is incredible. And I think any of the business would tell you that.
We're at base camp here at Devil's Backbone, so it only makes sense we'd run into a hiker hiking the Appalachian Trail. It's Pilgrim, right?
Yes, ma'am.
From Richlands, Virginia?
Yes, Richlands, Virginia.
Okay, so is Pilgrim the name that your mom and dad gave you?
No, it's a name that you get on the trail. It's called trail name. I got mine because I carry a Bible and I sing hymns with. So.
Well, what brings you to Devil's Backbone?
The good food and the good brews. Yeah. I like hiking on the trail and everything, but it's good to come in and rest and refuel for a little bit.
We found Katie and Tyler enjoying a drink in the afternoon at Devil's Backbone.
I drink their beer all the time. I live in Richmond, drink it down there. Figured why not drink it from the source,
I'm from Crozet, Virginia originally. I was born here, lived here my whole life, and I love coming through. I went to Wintergreen when I was younger, so I always drove by here, and now that I'm old enough to drink here, it's wonderful to come and stop and hang out. But I wanted to take him here especially because we do love the beer, and it's just a wonderful place to be.
They come for a day's drive. Sometimes they drive from Pennsylvania all the way here. It's incredible. Sometimes it's for the weekend. Sometimes they're taking our entire week just for Nelson County. There's abundance to do besides Nelson 151. Avid hiking, there's fishing, there's bicycling, rock climbing, camping. I don't know, it's endless opportunities besides visiting Nelson 151 corridor. That's just really powerful. So we have unlimited water. It's refreshing mountain water. It's what you drink in our glass of ice water that we serve you, just fresh. It's just coming off a well. Here we have the outdoor bar, and that features 18 taps of Devil's Backbone beer. It's a cool spot, all on draft. You can grab your beer over at the outdoor bar and then head over to the Oak Grill. Inside the Oak Grill, we've got a wood-burning grill, so it's cooking up hamburgers, steaks, hot dogs, various sorts for a menu there. Behind us, we've got the original brew pub. That's a full-service dining experience for our guests, along with a full-service bar. So it's got our beer on, again, about 20 taps. When you fast forward it to now, which is 2017, we've grown immensely.
We have beer in over 960 pubs in Britain and its surrounding isles, and we have beer all over the east coast of the U.S. and we're one of the, if not the most award-winning breweries since we first opened. And you know, sometimes it's hard to just like sit back and not think about like, oh, how far have we come? But instead you have to force yourself to focus on how far can we go? And I think that's the better question.
More information on Devil's Backbone can be found at dbbrewing.com. There's so much to do in the Shenandoah Valley and more to see. We give you your festival forecast. Well, that brings us to the close of another episode of Hey Virginia, the special edition of Route 151 corridor in Nelson County. We hope you saw some things you hadn't seen before. If you're a fan of what we do here at WVPT in Hey Virginia, make sure you check out our Facebook page and hit that like button. And as always, your contributions are so appreciated and needed. You can do that at WVPT.net. Until next time, I'm Kate Martin. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm coming home. There's a place where I can go home, where the foothills roll and the people are so warm.
Hey Virginia was sponsored in part by
Everence Financial is grateful to serve this community. As a faith-rooted financial services organization, we're dedicated to helping members grow more confident futures. With their values in mind, join a community that's doing better together.
Hey Virginia is a unique monthly program produced by WVPT. It is a show inspired by the community for the community at large. It's a cultural medley of arts, history, music, and entertainment, spotlighting this vibrant community in which we live and work. Every month, Hey Virginia highlights the exciting upcoming events and festivals taking place throughout our region, and offers in-depth stories on the people, places, and things that make this great state of ours such a magical place to experience. Presenting a diverse snapshot of Virginia lifestyle, Hey Virginia is a beacon for what is happening in this amazing region we call home. Featuring fun and entertaining viewer-submitted content, Hey Virginia is a truly interactive community experience.
But this is our baby. This is our digital projector. This is what does all the magic and puts the picture up on the screen. Down here, this is our server. Our movies actually come in, instead of the big reels that they used to come in on a hard drive now.
Described as the Wizard of Fiberglass, Mark Klein is equal parts pop culture hero and 21st century philosopher. We recently had the pleasure to sit down with Mark at his Enchanted Castle studio in Natural Bridge to discuss his career and his unique creations.
When I got out of high school, I mean, nobody wanted to hire an entertainer. Nobody wanted to hire a sculptor. I mean, it was like, you go to work in the factory. I went to the employment office and said, do you have anything? And the lady there said, no, we have nothing. And so I was on my way out the door, and my hand was literally on the doorknob. And the lady in another room said, we have something. I said, I'll take it. I was at a place called Red Mill Manufacturing where they make these little figurines. And after working there for about a week, the boss said, Mark, can you stay after? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting fired after my first week. And he showed me how to make a mold of my hand out of this resin. And after I made this mold and I poured an exact duplicate of my hand, I said, I can make all kinds of stuff out of this. He said, you sure can, Mark. Here's a 5-gallon bucket. Go home and play with it. I used to get my phone out of a place up in Winchester, and at the time it was called Insulated Building Systems. I walked in and saw these big, huge blocks, and they were 16 feet tall, and I immediately was like, that would make a good replica of Stonehenge.
There are dogs that are way more talented, but there are none that I've seen that are all around like Harley. Harley has been my life for the last 8 years, and I don't want to quit sharing him with people, but he's sick and he's tried, so anything that he needs now, I will do for him.
Welcome to the May edition of WVPT's latest local program, Hey Virginia. We're here at the Massanutten Ski Resort to give you an insider scoop on the various fun activities happening this ski season. Massanutten sees over 200,000 visitors every year, and like so many, I'm headed straight to the top. It seems everywhere you look nowadays, all we see is bad news. Well, we aren't going to take it anymore. And in this episode of Hey Virginia, we are banning bad news and putting the spotlight on the people, groups, and organizations that are making the world around us a little brighter. Hey Virginia, offering a fresh perspective on tomorrow's adventures.
WVPT has held numerous community engagements where our community told us they want more local shows. Hey Virginia is a direct result of taking the desires of our community to heart. But we can't continue to produce this amazing show without sponsorship dollars.